Voltron Network.
Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome to the DC versus Marvel podcast, where we talk about the latest DC and Marvel movie news. My name is Utz, and I'm your regular DC fanboy. And once again, in the red corner, once again, I don't know what happened there. I just must have lack of sleep. But yeah, once again in the red corner, representing Marvel Comics is my boy Eds. How you doing, bro?
And awesome. Spidey's coming back. Awesome.
This is the thing. This is the thing, man. Yeah, I mean, guys, if you don't like spiders, if you've got arachnophobia, then yeah, you might want to. you might want to. I don't know, take a beta blocker or something right now.
That's why Spider-Man's so awesome. He helps me get over my phobia.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I mean, there's not that much, not much kind of spidery kind of stuff in Spider-Man.
Right there on his
really?
chest. It's right there on his chest.
Yeah, but you know, come on,
like,
they need to bring actual man spider into it. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like, what about that? If you were confronted by that freaky pet in Dune, you know that the Harkonnens have with the.
Oh, what is the logic in that thing? Oh, that's horrible. But it doesn't make sense, like rationally. Like, why do I hate spiders? But every other creepy crawly doesn't bother me. Like the ant, like Anthony in Ant-Man. It's fine, that wouldn't bother me. Even the giant one, it's like, yeah, whatever. Something about the way spiders are just constructed, man. It's just something evil there.
It's the way that they creep around and stuff like that, and like, you know. Thing is, ants are always on the move, right? So you always see them, they're always running around and stuff like that. Spider just sits there for ages, and then suddenly it will run off,
watching you, and they realize you've seen them, and they try and run.
And they got a shitload of eyes as well, man. I don't know if you ever seen like these zoom out pictures of like spiders. They got like 20 eyes, man. They're just like, they're kind of crazy creatures, man. So having said that, this is literally the lair of the spiders, this garage. So yeah, I tried to sanitize it, but trust me, man, they find a way. You know what I mean? So
I have only just realized the mold which I've been battling in this place is self-caused because of I spray so much insect spray and don't really wipe it off the walls that it's causing the mold to take root in the walls because there's so much moisture.
Because you hate the insects that much. Wow, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. That's the thing where you can have, the more ventilation you have, you're more likely you are to have creatures coming in and out. You know what I mean? So 6 of one, half a dozen of another, man. You know, respiratory problems for mold or creatures coming in. You know what I mean? It's What's the better thing? I don't know.
Most of the air I breathe is bug spray right now. It's kind of like my natural habitat. Like, that's planetary environment.
Well, I guess if that could. If we take the superhero trope, push you to becoming a superhuman character. Is there guys? Let us know. Has there ever been anybody who has in a comic book inhaled so much bug spray that they've become like some absolute superhuman creature? I think the closest to that.
That's a great spin-off villain for Spider-Man, anti-Spider-Man, because he's just just touches Spider-Man. It's like kryptonite to Spider-Man. That'd be awesome.
Well, I read this thing about I don't know why there was a thing about on one of the Marvel forums where they were writing about the story of Professor X and his sister, which is just like is so crazy. And I'm just thinking, why have they not kind of brought this in? Because it would be such an amazing thing to do. You know, you got Charles Xavier and his sister, and then all the kind of parallels against against Magneto and his family and stuff that happened. You know what I mean? So I mean, just weird that basically Charles Xavier killed his twin sister in the womb because she was the anti-Xavier who basically tried to strangle him in the womb. So he sent a psychic blast which made his mother miscarry, just her, not him. Right.
Wow.
So this is the thing, man. They should bring that in because this guy could be carrying some psychological burden of like, of what he's done. You know what I mean?
That could be a cool multiverse thing where in a different universe, she's the one that survived.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, like, because I read this thing, and then like you could tell that it kind of veered off into like bullshit. So I don't know if you ever seen people put these memes up and they put a picture of the character, and then they say in this comic book this happened, blah blah, whatever. So they wrote that thing, and it's like it's believable up until the point at which they say Charles Xavier's sister survived as a number of cells in this sewer, basically, right?
Oh my god! She's a Ninja Turtle.
She's been plotting her revenge for like 40 years against Charles Xavier.
Raised by Shredder. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, but she just sells, basically, right? Just stuck on a wall or something like that, because she's like a miscarriage, basically, right? So yeah, just very 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 odd storyline. But yeah, maybe that's something for the new X-Men when it comes in, if they decide to go.
I think they'll crack it.
If they decide to go a bit dark, man. So guys, yes, we do have a lot of Spider-Man stuff there today, and we will be getting into that. We got some listeners' questions there as well, and we'll be going into some Star Wars and a tiny bit of DC as well, because I can't let my DC guys down. So now, having said that, let's start off with some DC, right? And Brandon Routh is back in the news there again, because he's kind of being asked about, because there's a crossover apparently happening again in the CW. I'm sorry, guys, I pay no attention to it, so I never really know. But there's a crossover going on again, and Brandon Routh has been asked, like, is the Kingdom Come Superman going to come back? And if so, would you be interested in a project for Kingdom Come Superman?
I thought the last time he donned that costume, so cool. In fact, that I would have preferred he just have his own spin-off and just focus on that Superman, like, rather than it be part of whatever crap the CW's putting together. Because it's just whatever he does, it's gonna suck, because it's part of this other crap, Black Lightning and. I can't even remember who the other bloody.
Isn't it amazing that when that happened, the universal thing that all of us kind of said? I remember we were talking about it, saying like how Brandon Routh looks like Superman, and Tyler Hoechlin just looks nothing like Superman. And it's like how the tables have turned.
It was embarrassing when they were standing side by side. And the other dude just looked like a kid in cosplay on Halloween or something next to Brandon Routh. It was like, wow, nah. Yeah. They missed the trip there. Even though I have softened on the other dude, the Superman Lois show is a good show. I genuinely enjoy it. But man, they missed an opportunity with Routh, man.
Yeah. That's the thing. The thing is with Routh is that when they released that second Superman film, I think it's called Superman Returns, wasn't it?
Yeah,
or was this So when they did that, it was like they really tried to kind of go into those, like, late 70s, early 80s kind of Superman films, but the audience had moved on. So it didn't quite work very well, mainly because I think Kevin Spacey was so campish and stuff.
It wasn't even that. It was like Lois Lane looked like she was just out of high school, so that didn't work. And he had no real enemies to fight. We want to see Superman do super shit. You don't just want to see him lift an island. Like, he had no enemies to fight. There was no action in it. It was a dull film, really. It wasn't a bad film, really, when you look at it objectively. It kind of does A to B to C fine, but it's just not exciting. It's just,
Yeah, and that's the thing, and unfortunately, that ended up putting him in the doldrums with his career, right? Whereas actually, he should have been a lot, a lot bigger than he actually was, man. Because sometimes you kind of watch these things, and it's like, I have watched that film back there again, and it's like, this dude does look like what you would think, Clark Kent should look like literally, when he's in the Daily Planet and stuff like that. And it's like
Christopher Reeve's lookalike that was actually pretty decent as the role.
Yeah, and he's tall, right? He's way taller than everybody else, right? Like in all of the scenes. I think part of it was helped by the fact there's James Marsden, and he's not like a tall guy and stuff like that, and that just the fact that he was going up against those lot. But I've kind of realized for a while now, like Hollywood is a lot like WWE. Right, whereas like basically they say like, yeah, this guy's 6'1" or this person this, and it's like in reality they're not. Like that, like there's a thing that was for a long time, like Hulk Hogan was 6'8" or something, and it's like he's no way he is 6'8" because he's stood next to people who are like 6'2", 6'3", and he's like their height or slightly taller.
Yeah. He's big, but not as big. Yeah, they exaggerate way too much.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And the way that you can tell is kind of like, Henry Cavill, they say he's 6'1", right? But he's barely taller than Gal Gadot, right?
Yeah.
He's like barely, like literally barely taller.
But what is she though? Because she pretty much towers over everyone.
5'11". So she's meant to be 5'11".
My height.
Yeah. So she's meant to be 5'11". And then obviously then you got the boots and stuff, so I guess that's even taller. But then you got Ben Affleck, who's 6'4", who definitely looks taller and bigger than all of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the thing. That's why that's why I was looking so forward to when potentially they were doing a Deathstroke thing, because you've got Manganiello, who is 6'5", and is a legit 6'5", not like a fake ass 6'5", like Momoa, man. But some of these other ones are just like hilarious. There's this thing actually in my town, which is near the cinema, and basically they've got all this kind of this wall, and it goes all the way up the side, and it's got like these different kind of things on the side of it, and it will say different animals or different people and stuff, different heights and stuff, right? So it's like got like a bonobo ape, and then an emu, and then a moose, and then and it's like and then one of them is like, it goes up, and the moose is like 5'8" to 5'9", which is like my height basically, right? And then above the moose it says Tom Cruise, right? So I'm like, I'm the same height as Tom Cruise.
No way, he's way shorter than you. No way that's accurate.
There is no way that Tom Cruise is like that height, man. But yeah, it's just funny, man. So I would also be looking forward to Kingdom Come thing, but we're so like oversaturated with Superman at the moment, I think. Especially especially when The Boys comes back, it's gonna be like another evil Superman trope like coming back and stuff, man. So but Brandon, man, he should have had more of a role, I think.
Should have had more. Yeah, I'm surprised they couldn't like pull a little sneaky one and bring him back in the Flash. If they got all these multiverse stuff going on, they could have sneakily kind of had him in there.
Oh, do you know what? If they're clever, they will do it, right?
Surprise!
But this is Warner Brothers we're talking about, right? And Warner Brothers are dumb as hell, man. You know what I mean? So, I don't know how much sense would that make, given the fact that given the fact that Keaton's in it. I guess it would have been Reeve, right? But then I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing makes no sense.
But we don't know how many universes he goes to. If he just go to one where Keaton is, or no, we not. Or is there others? I don't know. Maybe is the TV Flash coming back?
That's the thing. Like, is the Supergirl in Keaton's universe, or is nobody knows, basically, right?
Technically, she should. Yeah, there's that one in there. Yeah, because she had a picture of him in that film. Damn, that was a bad film. Even though I watched it hundreds of times, I had a crush on that shit.
Yeah. Oh, that one.
Yeah,
that was a classic, man. That was one of the greatest films I've ever seen in my life. Dude, there's a bit with Peter O'Toole, and he basically comes at people with a feather duster. He's like a feather duster, and he's like, oh, like this is brilliant. I love it. It's absolutely insane. I'd love to be in the writer's room when they're like, yeah. So basically, his weapon is going to be this feather duster, right? And it's going to basically going to. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing. When I look back at that film, I just think, damn, man. Out of all these props that I could have, right?
You want that bloody thing? Wow.
I would love to have that, man. That would be. I bet that would go for like £2 or something at an auction, you know. So that would be amazing. Or I would love to go to. I don't know if Faye Dunaway and I know the Supergirl woman is still alive, but I've got an idea now. I need to get that feather duster thing. I need to go to a Comic-Con where one of them is there.
Get it signed.
Just sign that feather duster thing, man. That is now my plan. I need that feather duster thing signed, man. So yeah. So I thought you were talking about the other Supergirl, you know, the one, the Latino one, who's in the in the new one.
No. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, which universe is she in?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So that is the thing, man. But yeah, as we will talk about a bit later, I don't know, man. The Flash could be too late because there could be some stuff going on with you know, Marvel Sony, which
sadly
which
it's just gonna look like a copycat, man.
Which is going to be highly unfortunate. So apparently there's some couple of rumors that are going around there as well with Marvel there at the moment. The Miles Morales and Daredevil are basically having introductions into the MCU. Daredevil potentially with a reboot, with still having Charlie Cox there in it.
Dumb.
And dumb. Do you reckon it's dumb?
I love Charlie Cox. I'm happy for him to come around, but reboot? Why? Everyone loves the Netflix Daredevil. It's not only critically highly rated, but also people love it. So why that you're losing out by not keeping what they've built and just bringing it across? It just baffles me. Feige's like pride that he doesn't want to. If I don't create it, it doesn't count. Sort of mentality. And I love Feige, but he's screwing up with this one.
I had to agree with you on that, and I agree with you from a slightly different viewpoint of the way that I look at these kind of like Marvel films. I always kind of had this thing on Marvel films that why don't the authorities ever turn up, right? But it's just one of those things. It's just what happens in Marvel films, right? So there's always the worry that, okay, Daredevil's going around, he's beating all these people. Where's the police? You know, all that kind of stuff. And obviously, we know a bit of that kind of comes into play in the series. But that's not really going to happen so much in the MCU kind of field, because obviously, like, you know, that's just the way that the MCU stuff is. And I guess for Daredevil, then that kind of fits, because he can kind of just get away with doing, you know, what he's doing and doing it to the bad guys because the police are not doing their thing.
Police turn up. We just don't see that 10, 15 minutes later after the fight's gone down. That's when they turn up. Just like in real life. Just late to the party.
Yeah. But that doesn't, you know, the army should turn up, and the navy should turn up, and the Air Force definitely should turn up, man. That is the thing. Do you think if Captain Marvel flew into the atmosphere, there would not just be a shitload of missiles just flying at her from us, not from everybody else? we would be firing
that
at
automated
her, you know
missile system most countries in the West are supposed to have, to just immediately shoot anything down. It's true. They should probably do that now and again, even if it's just to swipe it aside, just to show that it exists.
Yeah, which is why I really like that.
They had it in Iron Man.
In Iron Man, they did. Well, that's the thing. This is why I really like kind of the first ones, and then as it went further and further along, it was more like it got more and more separated from just us. And we were just kind of like bystanders in this kind of thing that was going on. The first Iron Man was like literally like people were involved like all the way around, and it's just like, you know, as a story that still really stands up there for me. But would you be interested in a Miles Morales? Obviously, you know, Daredevil, I guess. Do you think they'd ever go as brutal with Daredevil as they?
No way. They'll try and push it to maybe like Winter Soldier level, but it won't go beyond that. But you know what? With Daredevil, I'm more interested to see how they'd incorporate the alter ego. Oh my God, how am I blanking on his name? Am I blanking on his name?
Matt Murdock.
The DC guy got the name before me. That is embarrassing. I apologize. Don't butcher. Yeah. I'm more interested to see how they would integrate him into other story. Like, I hope that he does pop up in She-Hulk, and I hope that he could pop up somewhere else in, maybe Spider-Man or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. So, with Matt Murdock, obviously there's a potential that if they got She-Hulk and that's a legal drama, that I would think that would probably be the best introduction there for him, apart from Spider-Man, because they're obviously in the same field. It would be a little kind of way moment when it's just like maybe they cross paths or something like that.
No, Spider-Man needs a lawyer because he's being exposed, and that could be what happens before he goes to Doctor Strange, isn't it? It's like you need legal counsel because you've been accused of murder. Matt Murdock comes in. Great.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing. My New York geography is not great, but I guess so. Hell's Kitchen is Harlem. Where is that?
Harlem.
So that's the north part of Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and is he from Queens or from
Queens?
So Captain America is Brooklyn and he's from Queens. So they're not on the island, right? So they're like different parts of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know where there's Matt Murdock, public defender. Like he'll take anybody, literally will take anybody on because he's just like So that would be a great introduction. But the thing is that we're really waiting for the introduction of some other people instead, which hopefully if they do, we'll have some interesting things to talk about anyway. What do you think about Miles Morales? Into the Spiderverse was great for what it was, animated, animated story and stuff like that. Would you want to see a Miles Morales series, or would you want to carry on with Peter Parker? Before you answer that, I would just say I'd rather have Peter Parker, but I'll explain why later.
I think there's still plenty of that character has way more legs, Peter. I'm saying so, not in a spider way, but he should. I know he's talked about this probably being his last one, which I hope that's not the case because he still looks crazy young, and he has become the sort of heart of the MCU right now. In terms of, everyone loves him. Like, it makes sense for him to be, stick around for maybe 3 more films. I'm always worried when it comes to casting these sort of characters, like finding that perfect person who can conduct themselves in the movies outside as well as in. But Miles, I think just do more Spider-Verse films. And I know there was someone spotted on set of Spider-Verse that kind of looked like it could be. He was like a light-skinned kid with a similar haircut to the Spider-Verse version, and he had a mocap suit on. But don't think that's any confirmation that he's going to be in it. But you never know. But I don't need him yet. Personally.
I think with any of these things, you always got to remember the general public, right? General public don't know who Miles Morales is. So they know Peter Parker, and they know who he is and stuff like that. And I think kind of you really got to establish that character, because straight away there's going to be complaints from idiotic people saying, this is just like a tokenism and stuff.
I think of Fox is being assaulted outside on the other side
assaulted. Of did it? Yeah, foxes are crazy, man. They're usually attacking hedgehogs when they do that. And the reason why I know that is because that happens almost daily outside my house, because we live near a field and stuff, right? So basically, I've looked outside with my binoculars and stuff, and then I've seen foxes attacking hedgehogs. Yeah, they literally attack hedgehogs, and also the moles that come out of the ground, they attack them when they come out of the ground. You know what I mean? So you actually in these areas you actually want foxes, because they attack mice and shit like that. Whereas in the city they're scared of rats, so they're actually a pest themselves.
Rats are the same size. So
So I'd be.
I do think the public awareness is a lot higher when it comes to Mars, because of not only the success of Spider-Verse, but also the success of the Spider-Man Miles Morales game for
Mhm,
PS5. Like,
mhm.
I think broadly people are vaguely aware of him. But yeah, just keep going with the games. He's still going to be in that. There's going to be more Spider-Verse films, so that kind of opens the door to do something maybe a little different with the films. Like I actually more interested in seeing Silk and Spider-Gwen pop up in live action than I am with Miles, because yeah. But then
There's a lot of stories to tell in
there is.
Spider-Man, like a
There
lot.
is.
So
And Sony's gonna fuck all of them up.
and Sony, Sony's gonna mess them all up, as we know. But yeah, I mean that will be that will be comical, man. Like if they, I think this is the thing. Like I always say, like they should learn a bit more from like wrestling and stuff, because in wrestling this often happens, man. This passing of the torch kind of thing, and they don't never do it very well in films like this kind of thing. Whereas literally like, okay, we're the people and we kind of are now passing the torch on to you, and you're the one who's going to take it on. And the biggest one that I always thought was like the biggest failure of that ever happened was the Indiana Jones 4, when it had Harrison Ford and he's passing the torch on to Shia, right? And the film was ropey as it was anyway, but then at the end, obviously Shia picks the hat up and it's meant to be like, okay, yeah, and then he's like, not too soon, and then he puts his own hat on, right? So yeah, they never really do that very well, but I kind of think they need to do something where they try and pass a torch on rather than doing an outright replacement, because people don't like it when it's an outright replacement.
If they do bring Miles Morales into live action, does that mean Peter Parker has to die for that to work, or can they just coexist? If Tom Holland agreed to stick around for a little while longer, for a couple more films, then could they be together? Like, is there a point of having two? I don't really think there is.
What the only issue that I have with that is that Tom Holland's quite young and he looks young, right? So it's like, he can't even stand on his own 2 feet yet. So how is he going to mentor somebody else? Into how to be a Spider-Man? You do that when you're like older, like Tobey Maguire, say, even though Tobey Maguire is playing like a 16-year-old or whatever, which is comical. You still need to be like that kind of age to say like, right, I'm teaching you now to kind of take over the mantle or whatever kind of thing. So,
or they could do like it was in the books, where that was like the Ultimates universe, where he is created elsewhere. So if he pops up in this main Prime universe, he's already had the Peter Parker that's already taught him. He was older, maybe, and he's already seasoned to a degree. Still young enough, but I don't know.
And then he meets the younger version of the Peter Parker when he was the older guy. Yeah. And it's kind of like, that could be a good little dynamic. Then it becomes like a buddy cop movie, right? With like with the two people basically. So
I always thought though, if Sony was smart, they would just bring it. If they had to do a Miles Morales, then they would just do that for their universe with Venom and all those others, and that could be their Spider-Man for that, and just let Tom Holland continue doing it for this one. I always figured they'd do that, but they
Sony want to have their cake and eat it, man. That's the problem with Sony. Like, they're literally just like, I don't know, like, Amy Pascal, basically they asked her about Tom Holland, and saying like, oh, Tom Holland saying that this might be the last kind of time that he comes out and stuff, and she's like, no, we've had talks, and I've told him I'm not making any other Spider-Man unless it's got him in it. She goes, I would make 100 if I had the choice. And it's like, mate,
probably after watching the Uncharted trailer, I think it's probably a good idea for Tom to stick around in Spider-Man, because
probably for a little while, I guess, to he's still a very young guy, you know what I mean?
Until he can grow a beard.
Until he can grow a beard. I saw his dad was like a comedian in the UK, like back in the day. Like, I saw him.
No idea. Yeah, I used to see that guy on like panel shows and stuff back in the day. I'm like, that's your dad?
Yeah. So obviously they get into, they got into it and stuff like that. So yeah, that's great, man. Because that guy is not even that old either. Like, I remember he was like young when I was a kid. So he must 25. Be like 50. Yeah, he must be about 50. The dad maybe like 55 odd, you know, so he's not even that old. But yeah, let's move on into from more spiders to more spiders, right? Into the Spider-Man trailer. Now, guys, of course, this is gonna have spoilers in it because if you haven't seen
trailer,
if you haven't seen the Spider-Man trailer and you're listening to the DC vs. Marvel podcast, then yeah, then yeah, exactly. It's not like 2 minutes after it's been released. It's like 2 days after. So you guys should have watched it at least 500 times by now. So
way better trailer than the first one. The first one didn't really get me that excited. This one, I was like, oh yeah, here we go. I'm into this. Oh,
yeah. Isn't this the kind of thing that you just look at and you think, man, this is what we've needed after like 2 years of just you know stuff going wrong and the pandemic and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, this is a party that you celebrate all that stuff with. Yeah, this is the big blowout.
What it looks like. This is what it looks like, man. And now it's started to get me slightly worried for the Matrix because the Matrix is coming out 5 days later.
Yeah.
And you know, I've heard mates saying, well, the adults will go and watch Matrix, but I'm like, I think they've got the same demographic. I think they've almost got the same demographic, right?
Except that Spider-Man has way more under 25 that are interested because the amount of people I see under 25 that they never seen Matrix. They heard of it, but they never seen it. It's crazy to me. What the parents
which is exactly. What are they letting them watch, man? Probably I don't know, Nickelodeon and stuff like that. That's about it, you know.
TikTok videos.
But TikTok videos, yeah, that is the thing, man. There's gonna be, you know, at some point there's going to be a TikTok, you know, person who ends up becoming like a famous movie star. So I think Instagram people have already become like movie stars and stuff. So it's only a matter of time until TikTok. But anyway, let's get back to this trailer. So, dude, this trailer, man, I've watched it so many times, right? It's just like, you know, there are certain things in it that I can kind of, if I really wanted to pick at it, I could do, pick a lot at. And I've never been like, you know, the hugest fan of Tom Holland's Peter Parker, although I have liked his Spider-Man portrayal. Just because I don't know, I just feel that he's like too unsure of himself. Right, like, you know, like it just seems like you should have, you know, progressed now. You should be you've been in like, you know, 3 or 4 films of the MCU now. You should be assured of your own self. But when he puts on the costume and he's Spider-Man, he is like proper Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Yes, that comes down to like the versions of Peter you read as you grow up. For me, he's always been that unsure, lacking confidence kid. So that's why for me, he's a perfect Peter Parker. Not that I have any hatred towards, you know, the previous ones, but they never really felt like the version of him that I remember reading as a kid. And Tom Holland so much more does. And he's still he's supposed to be like 16 or something. So yeah.
So in this trailer, there's a lot of, I mean, we could go on for ages, going through every single Easter egg and stuff like that. But we see a lot of things that we've kind of already seen there already. We've seen, you know, the Green Goblin and Doc Ock, and
possibly oh no, they can't have the James Franco one though. There was another shot of a Goblin that was coming from a distance. And it looked like the Franco version, but they're not going to bring him in with all the crap he's been dealing with. No way.
No, somebody's like zoomed up that shot, and it does look like
Dave DeHaan?
Defoe. No, it looks like Defoe with his kind of like mask off kind of thing.
Okay.
So it actually looks like Defoe's face, but yeah, Dane DeHaan needs a hit, man, because
he does, man.
Poor Dane DeHaan, man. After that, what was that film with Luc Besson? Oh, what was that
Valerian?
Oh, Valerian.
Was it?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness me. Valerian is the only audiobook that I've never finished, right? Because because it is basically it's the audiobook of the story of the film
Oh,
rather than off the graphic novel, right?
yeah.
And it is just like it's so horrible to listen to. It's so bad. Like, so yeah, it's the only one I've never been able to complete. Like, I mean, Dune is coming close to it now, but that's just because I'm getting tired.
It's long. Yeah,
but
I'm only at the point where the film ends. The first, so still got another movie's worth to watch.
That's exactly. I'm on 11. Yeah, I'm on like hour 11, and there's like 10 hours left. So it's just so just a lot of stuff going on, man. But yeah, it would be interesting if it was Dane DeHaan, I guess. But then you got to bring in Rhino then, Paul Giamatti.
Oh no, we don't. No, we don't. No.
The funniest Rhino ever. Yeah,
they redesigned Electro, so maybe they could redesign that one. You know. They're willing to.
I like Electro's redesign where they've actually like tried to make it more like the comic books, but also at the same time make it more realistic.
Yeah, it's kind of like a military type thing, but the electricity kind of fills in the gaps of the costume, even with the mask. Like that
cool. And the electricity comes out of his face like the classic kind of mask there from the film, from the comic books, without actually looking silly at the same time, man. But the thing that obviously everybody's talking about is the fact that why is Electro looking that way and Sandman looking that way and Lizard looking that way, rather than
and Lizard reacting to getting hit.
Yeah, before the building collapses behind him.
That was what I was meaning in when you text me about the watch along trailer reaction that Holland and Zendaya and the other dude did. In that shot, that was when that other dude, the Filipino dude, was like, "Oh, where's the?" And he kind of cut himself off.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, that guy has never been seen since that video. Yeah, man, because that's the thing. Like, I'm just thinking. I'm really just hoping that it's not that Doc Ock and Green Goblin come to sorry, not Green Goblin. Doc Ock and Green Goblin aren't helping Spider-Man at that point, and they're the other two ones that are going there and there. Because
please no.
Sorry guys, I've got a frog in my throat. But yeah, basically, like I if they do that, I will just be like, oh my god, why the hell did you do that? You guys literally had a slam dunk opportunity, like an open goal. There's an open goal sitting there right now.
What if? Like, I don't think this is the case. Like, I'm pretty sure Garfield and what's his face, Maguire, are going to be in this. But what if it turns out they never were? Like, they weren't lying when they said all the other stuff was fake. All the stuff we see online was all bullshit, and they were never in it. What if?
Wow. This would be the biggest own goal in history. Okay.
Yeah.
And part of me would be like, oh, what the hell have you done? Then the other part would be like, okay, Flash, now you got the chance. Yeah. Do not mess it up, right? Because now the Flash has an opportunity. In the way the world's working right now, like everything's upside down, it would be absolutely weird if they do something like that, man. But Andrew Garfield actually had another interview recently. I don't know if you saw his GQ. He's done a GQ video like yesterday. So they do this thing on YouTube where it's like my either answering questions on the internet or like my 10 favorite things and stuff like that. And for him, it was answering questions on the internet. So he was going through Wikipedia and like reading all these things about himself and correcting it and things like that. One of the ones was, are you going to turn up in Spider-Man? And he goes, look, I'm done with that. I'm not saying anything about that. He goes, when the movie comes out, some people are going to be happy. Some people are not going to be happy. Some people are going to be saying like, see, I told you so. And other people are going to be saying, see, I told you so.
Wow. That does worry me a bit. But no, I have faith. They can't dude, they can't.
They can't. If they do, especially right. The reason what gives me hope is when I sent you that video of the reaction of the cast to the trailer, and is it Jacob? It's Jacob Batalon, right? That's his name, isn't it?
I don't know.
So the the
Filipino
friend, what's his name? Yeah. So so he when there's a scene where basically he kind of fails to kind of catch MJ, and MJ just falls off the building, and then you see Spider-Man diving, and then you see this hand coming out, right? Yeah. And then his thing that he says at that point is, oh my God, they're gonna go crazy when they see this. And then he just like stops saying anything, and it's like,
dude, it has to be Holland. No, Garfield. I mean,
it has to be
Garfield saving her.
Has to redeem himself. If Garfield's, and it's like, not today. Martha doesn't die tonight, and then he catches her, right? And then, like, that's the thing, man. If he does it, everybody's gonna go nuts, man. I'm looking more forward to actually being in there if it does pan out the way that we hope it pans out, and the audience are just gonna go nuts when like these guys show up on the screen, man. It's just gonna be absolutely crazy. Yeah, some of the shots are still a little bit ropey. I think they need to do a little bit more VFX on some of these things.
They let that shot go through where, where everyone's jumping together, where Spider-Man against, Sandman, and just let that lizard reaction shot of getting hit. But obviously they edit out who's hitting him. But why would you even just leave that in there?
Well, that wasn't in the main trailer. That was in the Brazilian trailer, right? And then now they've removed the Brazilian trailer, and it's just that trailer. So I think that was just a mistake. Like somebody put a little bit more in or whatever, because maybe there was a voiceover or something that was coming at the same time, and they needed a little bit more time to get the words in or whatever. And then they just cut it. They were like, oh God, we just missed something, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, that's the thing about the internet, man. As soon as something like that comes up, you'll get 20 videos of people analyzing every single bit about
people at work who I work with, who are just regulars. They don't follow the sort of news that we follow. Even they were showing me little gifs of it off of their Facebooks and Instagram. I'm like, right, you actually keeping up with this stuff? So it really shows you the penetration that even the little rumors are starting to get with just regular people.
Yeah, this could potentially be one of those word of mouth things that is like, oh my God, did you see they've got all the Spider-Men from like different eras coming up in this kind of thing? It would be on the level, I would suspect, of if they had Keaton, Bale, and Affleck showing up. In fact, it'll probably be more. It'll probably be more like Reeve and Cavill and Ralph and every other person. That would be.
But Ralph is level. Ralph is the other one, though, isn't he?
He's meant to be. Yeah, he's meant to be the other one. Yeah. But yeah, I think. Well, they're all meant to be each one, aren't they? They're meant to be.
Well, no, Henry's his own thing because he has his own origin, all of that. But yeah, Ralph is supposed to be. What's going on with my memory today? What is happening? The original Superman,
Christopher Reeve. Yeah, Christopher Reeve.
It's supposed to be the continuation of that story.
Yeah. That was that. Do you know? Basically, we. I'm going to sound like a posh twat now, basically, but near where we used to live, there was like stables, right?
Wow.
And we used to go horse riding there, okay? And then when Christopher Reeve fell off his horse and broke his neck, my dad was like, "You are never going horse riding again, ever." So that was I could have been Olympic champion in horse riding, but yeah, that kind of just never happened.
I always wanted to go horse riding. The only horses I've ever seen in real life are either ones with police on top of them or gypsies ones.
Yeah, no, these ones are jokes because it wasn't like you didn't do jumping or anything like that. You would literally go take your horses into the countryside and then be like running around in the countryside and stuff. Like proper cool stuff, man. Nowadays everybody does it on quad bikes, but it's not the same. It's not the same as doing that on a horse, man. I went to a place this weekend. I was on a course, and there were all these dudes there with like basically like tweed jackets and like their socks up to their knees and stuff. And I was thinking, what the hell is going on here? And then one dude pulls out this massive shotgun, like literally like the height of himself, pretty much, right? And I'm like, okay, they're going to like shoot grouse or something like that, or you know, or something, man. It's just like so funny. Like,
do they still do? Didn't fox hunting get shut down?
Fox hunting's gone, but they go and shoot like birds and stuff, don't pheasants and you know all those kind of things, man. So and you know rabbits and shit like that. So it's kind of crazy. Like, you know, if you said to somebody in like certain parts of London, like there are people who go off and do that, they'll be like, you're taking the piss. This is from a movie or something. You know what I mean? But it's like actually legit. Like people, you know, people go and do something like that. So that's why we have so many differing opinions on it, man. So is this your most anticipated film of this year now? Because we haven't got much left, right?
Yeah. It was doing with this trailer. It has. Before this, I was looking forward to it, but I wasn't really, you know, crazy. So there's room for The Matrix to have a second trailer that's even crazier for me to be like, yeah, screw Spider-Man. I don't care, even if I'm the Marvel guy. I just want to go back in The Matrix. But yeah, at this point, it's definitely Spidey.
I'm so glad that I've decided I'm finishing on the 16th. Right, because basically, because Spider-Man's out on the 17th, and then that basically means like, you know, 22nd is the Matrix, so I can go see that God knows how many times. You know what I mean? So and to be honest, it's already been planned, man. I thought I'd be driving less over those 2 weeks when I'm off, but I'm probably gonna be driving more, going to different places to watch those films with different people, man. So have you heard, let's move on a little bit from Spider-Man there now. Have you heard of Marvel Era from the makers of Castlevania?
No.
So this thing came out a couple of days ago. They were basically, the makers of Castlevania said that they did a pitch meeting with Marvel 3 years ago, and around the same time that What If was being pitched, basically saying that they wanted to create something similar to the animation of Castlevania called Marvel Era. And what would happen is that they would tell short stories within each decade of Marvel being around. So the first 10 years, second 10 years, third 10 years, whatever, right? Going on. I think there was like 6 or 7 episodes they decided to do. And all of those were going to be kind of like Elseworld stories within that kind of era to try and replicate the feel of a 30s comic book or a 40s comic book or a 50s comic book, right? But also drawn in the style of Castlevania, basically. So this is something that because they've got another project that is going on, that they've said like, this is kind of what because everybody says, oh yeah, would you like to do a Marvel show? Oh yeah, you know, when they're talking about something else completely different. So that's the first thing they've said is like, actually we did pitch something there to them. Is this something that would have interested you? Something like that?
No, that's because if it's an Elseworlds thing, we've already got What If. So I don't know if it wouldn't necessarily got me that excited, but you know, I don't mind. And they're just short films as well, little short stories. So you know, it would be fun to watch, but I don't know, it would have been in the same similar zone to like Star Wars Visions. Like, yeah, it was fun, but haven't gone back and rewatched any of them or anything. You just watch it and yeah.
So that's the thing, like they pitched this the same time that What If was being made. So I think that's because Marvel already had in mind that we're going to make What If, that when they were doing this, it probably seemed way too similar. You know what I mean? So,
and even though the Castlevania does look good, animation style wise, I've just been watching Arcane, and that has just taken the bar to another level in terms of, like, there was a time where you would crap on 3D animation, but it's like, it just looks terrible, it don't look right, it doesn't have no soul to it. Have you seen Arcane yet?
No, I read an article like saying like there's no excuse for making crappy video game properties into shows or whatever now.
It's awesome.
Is it really that good?
I love it, and I've never played League of Legends in my life, but
this is the thing. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole reading about League of Legends. It's like the people who play this like literally make like millions. They have like massive tournaments and stuff like that. Like they're professional teams who basically get sponsored by people literally to play games like 14 hours a day like together.
Mad.
They actually, like one of them, one of these teams, they actually have military commanders who tell them tactics and like say like this is a tactic for doing this when you got these enemies, this, and they're literally getting advice from military commanders on how to play these games. It's absolutely mental. I don't even know what League of Legends is, but you know, kind of just like just
strategy,
all
battle,
the stuff around it,
melee thing, and it's just. But it's a cool world though. It's like this weird sort of, it's a fantasy world, but there's different where depending on where you are, that the style kind of adapts to that. So Arcane kind of has this sort of magical steampunk aesthetic, but it's not a kid show because it's pretty dark, not violent in the way that you couldn't watch it, but they could, but it does have heavy, you know, situations for some characters. Like it surprised the hell out of me. Loved it.
Is League of Legends a kid's game, or is it like a 15 or something? I don't know. I don't know. Nowadays kids play anything, man. But I once made the mistake of playing Call of Duty, not Modern Warfare, the one before that, which is the one that was, you know, in the Second World War kind of thing, online, and the type of stuff that kids were like shouting at me and stuff.
It's not. That's why I don't like online games. I remember when I used to do Halo and Gears, and it was like, who are you talking like 10-year-olds?
Yeah,
and I'm like, what is happening?
Exactly.
No.
Exactly, man. Because literally, all I used to do was because I used to play this one level all the time, which is the entrance to the Reichstag, right? So I was basically playing like the Russians, and you would be storming the Reichstag. So literally, all I would do is I would go and I'd run to this building that I knew, go up the ladder, and then go and crouch on the side of the building and just snipe people. That's literally all I'll do all the time. And the abuse, man, it's absolutely hilarious. And it's coming from like some squeaky voice little child, man. So it's just like, does your mum know that you're playing this game?
No, the anger issues that has to harbor in like that generation that just have these outbursts even when they're just out there in the public like that. It's just so crazy.
Exactly. Like, you know, do you know that you're speaking to somebody 20 years older and just like, you know, insulting their parents and stuff like that? It's just so bizarre, man. But yeah, so we've let's we'll go kind of we'll do this a little bit, but basically like there was the producer of the new Wakanda Forever film was saying that T'Challa will never appear again in any main MCU property, which means that he may appear in some animated stuff or some side things or whatever, but as the main character he will never appear.
I think they pretty much established that, innit? That they're just going to let the character lay the character rest and have someone else be a Black Panther of some kind. I know they did say that at some point in the film, or I don't know whether this was a rumor or someone got hold of the script or something, but they did say that Shuri does put on a suit at some point during the next film, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going forward that it's going to be her. And I've got a feeling Marvel might want to be done with her because I kind of hear that she's becoming a bit of a headache over there.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that I've been hearing just generally about people not wanting to make films because they don't want to get vaccinated.
Yeah, people getting dropped. Yeah, Ice Cube, someone else. Yes, quite a few.
And she's one of these ones who is like, I'm not doing this. I'm protesting against this. You shouldn't be forced to do that. I think she said something about like vaccines being untested or something, and it's just like they're gonna chuck her out, man. They're just gonna throw her out.
Yeah, like you have a right not to want to do it, but you can't really get mad at a studio that are so liable for, you know, anything could happen. If people do get sick, they're the ones that have to pay for all this shit. If they don't want to have to deal with that, and it's easier just to have people that are vaccinated, you can't blame them. It's a business.
This is the thing. This is what kids learn kind of
Yeah.
are going to start learning very quickly is that if you start acting like an idiot in the business is just going to chuck you out. And it's not like, you know, people think they're invincible these days, man. So like I can say anything and you know I'll continue to survive in this business because and be held as a hero for being, you know, whatever. But that's the thing, man. Even if there was something that happened to you and something happened to you and it's quite bad or whatever, then what will happen is that people will start digging into things that you did 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago, find something and be like, see, you're not the goody two shoes.
Yeah, that whole thing with the we are gonna get this into no political. I know guys don't want to hear that in this podcast, but the whole stuff about that guy that shot all those people that got away with it in the States, and to see in the news how the news were reporting on the people that got shot and digging up every little thing that they've done in the past, like, oh, they did this and they got a drink problem, and you think, oh, what the hell are you people doing?
Exactly. It's kind of crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. That's the thing. I can't trust any American news, so I have no idea. In fact, I can't even trust British news anymore. Nope. It's just like everything is just everything just an absolute joke. We had a thing over here where there was like this this cricketer who basically like had this like horrific abuse that was given to him. Like, I don't know why I'm laughing. It's like racist abuse and all this kind of stuff that was said to him for like years and years. So he went in front of Parliament and was like saying, yeah, you know, this happened to me. And then now people like dug up stuff that he's texted to a mate in 10 years ago, 2011, where he's made like some anti-Semitic comments and stuff like that. So it's like literally you put your head above it, like people are gonna find something about you and kind of you do whatever. So
I knew someone who worked for the Daily, you know them as well, actually. Well, you might have met him. I think you met him. He worked for the Daily Mail, and he admitted to me that they go out of their way, like to find the worst photos of somebody, like if, you know, to make someone look like a criminal if they're accused of something. It's like just the worst dirt that they could. It's just such a shit. You can't. Yeah, stay away from them, man. Just go in the woods, cut wood, and whittle statues or something like that. That's all we need. Life. Just forget everything.
That is life. That is proper life. Yeah, that's proper life. When it gets to the stage there where people are starting to go to Mars and, you know, we're colonizing the moon and stuff like that, guys, just if you got the opportunity, just step on it, man. Just go.
Leave this place behind. Done. Go. We failed. It's a failed experiment. One point. Over.
Yeah. Do you know what? I got too carried away last week talking about Eternals and how, you know, like the bad stuff there in it and stuff like that, without talking about the Tiamat thing, which is the thing that like was the thing that interested me so much about that kind of thing, because a few years ago I went into like this deep dive of like the 12th planet. Have you ever heard of Zachariah Sitchin, the 12th planet?
I've heard of it, but I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know deep about that one.
So right now, almost every solar system that we found has two suns in it, right? Our one has one, right? We don't know why. It shouldn't have two suns, because basically you've basically got no celestial bodies anywhere near us, right? So there shouldn't be any gravity pulling planets away from the sun. It's not possible, right? The sun is like the source of gravity. So this guy called Zachariah Sitchin came up with this idea that there must be another, like a dwarf sun outside the realms where we can't see it, right? And that what happened with that is that we have all these stories like in the past about this great flood and this thing and that thing, and you know, we know that there are like, you know, we've basically, like, if you go to certain places, like wherever in the world, but in the UK, like you can go up this massive hill and they'll say, yeah, we found fish fossils up here, and you're like, what? The sea was up at this flipping level and stuff, right? So, and his theory was that this 12th planet, which is like the dwarf sun, basically it comes around every like every like 200,000 years. It comes round this thing, and it produces gravity to such a level that it affects the the tides and all this kind of stuff. And at one point, he basically said that it came and it collided into a planet which is in between Mars and Jupiter, because there's this massive asteroid belt there, and there should be a planet there, but there's no planet there. And that planet, that dwarf sun or whatever it's called, is called Tiamat. Right, he named it Tiamat, right? So when they're like, because I know nothing about the Eternals, and they're like, oh, the celestial Tiamat, I'm like, what? Okay, did they get this from this story, the 12th planet, the celestial that came out and caused a calamity and all? I was thinking this actually, like, because it's what's his name, isn't it? Kirby, right? Kirby must have known these stories, right? He must have, when he was making the thing, right?
Tiamat was named after some historical figure or god or something.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, it's just weird. When I was watching, I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah, they could have gone really into that kind of thing, like, Tiamat was there, and he was in the planet that was in between Mars and Jupiter and exploded it. And
in the religion of ancient Babylon, Tiamat is a primordial goddess of the sea.
So Zachariah Sitchin named his planet after the primordial goddess. But why would he do that if it's a dwarf sun? I don't know. I need to probably research that a little bit more. But yeah, it would be interesting if they'll kind of like, oh, there was a celestial here before that came out off the planet that was in between Mars and Jupiter and smashed it to bits, and we got to do that there again. That would
have been cool.
Only interesting for me, not for anyone else, but still, man.
So moving on, not mentioning Harry Styles. Moving on.
Yeah. We're forgetting about Harry Styles because there's nothing for us to mention about him. To be honest,
Harry Styles is part of the MCU. Dear God, man, what is that? As far as I'm concerned, Endgame is the end of it. It's done. Like, it's 10 years span, and that's it. It's finished. Everything else is just leftovers, trimmings. It's done.
Harry Styles. It could be worse. Harry Styles could have been Adam Warlock or something.
Oh,
like
that is true.
At least he seems like a bit part player. You know what I mean? So that's not too bad. So this is the part of the show where we move to things where me and Ed's kind of come together and get rid of our differences on DC versus Marvel and talk a little bit about Star Wars and other kind of things. So Rogue Squadron, right? Yeah. Apparently having delays because Patty Jenkins is having a lot of creative differences with Kathleen Kennedy. That is the thing that we're hearing.
It was described as being overly micromanaged. She didn't like that.
Have you heard of that thing? You probably have. What happens when when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Right. Okay. So what happens when the world's shittest producer clashes with a terrible director? This is what happens, right? So you know what? I don't know, man. Patty Jenkins, okay, decent enough director, but directs TV stuff and one film about about a serial killer.
You're only as good as your last film. That's like the way Hollywood operates. 84 is the last film.
No, and the thing is that she still got it in her head that was great. That's the worst part about it, right? So now. The thing is, Kathleen Kennedy micromanages absolutely everything. We know that, right? But also at the same time, Patty Jenkins has got this thing in her head that she's, she can't do any wrong. Yeah. So this is one of these things where sometimes I like to take sides on these kind of things, but on this, I don't think I could take a side.
It's a hard one. I'm going to go with Patty Jenkins on this one because I'm sure she feels like. No. Kathleen Kennedy. I'm going to go with Kathleen Kennedy on this one.
Okay.
Because I'm sure she feels like she's not immune to all of the hate that the last couple of films have gotten. So she's probably feeling like, I gotta get this one right. I gotta get this one right. I just signed an extension on my contract. I gotta get this one right. So her hands are on it. She ain't letting it go. She's making sure, go over the script again, get another writer to look at it, and another one. Okay, what you doing this one? What do you want to do here? That's what I'm guessing is that this film has to work.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing that always kind of makes me laugh. Like you see like 10 billion videos on YouTube saying Kathleen Kennedy's going tomorrow. She's being chucked out. They're hating.
Who listens to those? It's crazy. That every time, and it's always wrong.
It's always wrong. And not only that, it's like none of these people know fundamentally how business works, like at all, right. like literally, like, okay, so, of course she's produced a number of these films, right? And, they say like, oh, well, actually it was because Steven Spielberg was great or George Lucas was great. And that's why, she was so rubbish and stuff like that. But then I bring it to the most recent history where I kind of look at, was it Gareth Evans or was it Garth Evans? Gareth Edwards or Gareth Evans, the guy who made Rogue One. Is it Gareth Evans?
Sure
Evans?
Gareth. Yeah.
No. Is it Evans or Edwards? I can't remember because one of them made The Raid and the other one made Godzilla.
Oh.
So, and they're both Welsh dudes. Gareth Evans and Gareth Edwards. I always get them mixed up.
Evans did The Raid.
So this is Edwards, right? Yeah. So I remember when the first trailer came out for Rogue One, and there was some really ropey dialogue in this. Like they were like, why do they call you a rebel? And she's like, because I rebel.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, what a shitty lie. And this is the thing. And then that got changed, right? Now you can't also say, Kathleen Kennedy micromanages absolutely everything, but then also at the same time be like, okay, that was a positive change. That if she's micromanaged, that was a good change to have made. I don't know. I don't know how you can, both of those things can coexist at the same time. So I kind of think like, okay, I've never been on a film set, so I can't say that I have any kind of knowledge about it there whatsoever, apart from the fact that I know that in effect the producer is in effect the business manager of the thing, which basically is like, we need to make sure that this fits within budget, people are turning up on set, people delivering their lines on time, on budget, all that kind of stuff. And that's her role. And of course you're going to micromanage that because these budgets are now getting squeezed because of the pandemic and stuff. So I'd understand her doing that, but at the same time, I don't know whether Patty Jenkins has learned from Wonder Woman 1984.
Don't think so, because she hasn't had to. Because of the time that it came out, she can use all these other things as an excuse. Like it was because it was on debuted on HBO Max instead of just being on the cinema. It's because people were, still locked at home. It's because all this other stuff is why. It was not because it was a bad film, it's because all these other factors were the reason why it didn't do, and it was hated the way it was. Like, when you can make excuses, yeah.
I think the only way we're going to tell about Patty Jenkins is how Cleopatra turns out. Because if that turns out to be an absolute shit show, then that is Patty Jenkins is the fault, you know what I mean? Rather than...
Is she going with Gal Gadot again on that one?
Yeah.
She's nice, dude. She's not a good actress, man. She's
no.
not.
Have you seen Red Notice? Right?
I keep seeing it. I keep hovering above it. I ended up watching like the Record of Ragnarok instead the other day because I just couldn't bring myself.
Oh, you actually saw it. Yeah, you actually saw it. Oh my, that's my guilty pleasure, that show, man. I
was so mad it cut before we got to see Jack the Ripper do his thing. I was so annoyed, like, no, what? I can't finish.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can actually get those other episodes by other means, but in terms of Netflix, obviously it's not in there. I've heard that if you have a VPN, you can get the other ones on Netflix, but we just kind of got to wait. But yeah, Red Notice is bad. It's really bad. It's like it's terrible. It is absolutely terrible. And like just the whole, imagine if you're a 12-year-old kid and you watch Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, man, that heist film's amazing. It had a twist here, it had a twist that. So I'm going to make a heist film with a twist here and a twist that, right? And it's going to be amazing. But you're writing it as a 12-year-old, right? So basically, it's like, it's like, it's absolutely terrible. I think the thing that saves this film is Ryan Reynolds, because some of the lines that he delivers, I actually was laughing my head off.
Okay, I'm surprised because I was gonna ask, is it not getting grating? Him just doing his Deadpool stick up where he just improvises all these lines, like, isn't it getting a bit tired?
Yes, so there's one, I won't spoil it for you because you can't spoil an amazing film like this, right? But basically there's one line that he says to this Interpol agent, which when he delivers it, I properly laughed when he said it, right? And then later on, he's doing like a voiceover kind of thing, like a narration, and he says exactly the same line again. And at that point, I'm like, why? Why did you say that line again? It was funny the first time because it was spontaneous, and the way it was delivered in the situation he delivers it is like, what the hell, mate? It's like so ridiculous.
It must have been an improvised line then, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then forgot that he done that.
And then obviously they deliver it again, and it's like, oh God, no, why? There's this thing that is going around actually at the moment on Reddit saying, how do I tell you this without spoiling it? There's a
it's a red noise.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this another time, guys. I'll let Eds watch this.
God.
I'll let Eds watch this, and then we will discuss this one bit next week. Keep it locked on this thing, because if I say it to Eds, he has to see this scene before I say it to him, and it kind of makes sense, because this thing that is going around about The Rock is the funniest thing ever, but you have to know the context of it before you see it. So Eds, watch it, and then we'll talk about it next week, possibly very briefly, because I don't know. So I guess you guys haven't talked about it on the movie show then, because you haven't.
Neither of us want to watch Red Noise. We just can't bring ourselves to, man. I just see the Rock's damn face on that thing. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
It doesn't Mo like short films. It's like 1 hour 30 minutes or something. So you can 1 hour 30 minutes of probably the worst thing. Actually, no, the worst thing I ever saw was a film that I saw yesterday, which I posted on the group.
Oh my! You actually watched one of them? Oh,
I actually watched it. Do you know why? Because I went on our film forum and I posted up and I said, do I watch this film and do a review? Yes, no, or who the hell is this guy? Right, basically. So I put a poll up there, and like everybody's like, yes, come watch this and do a review. So this film, basically what happens is, right, is they have COVID, and because of COVID, the government decide that they're going to put all these like draconian measures in and stuff, like lock everyone down and stuff like that. Okay. The funniest thing about this is, have you ever, guys, I don't mean any offense by this, I'm more talking about the specific film genre that this is. Have you ever seen Christian cinema? You know, the ones that they actually...
I can't remember myself to watch those.
So I didn't realize until halfway through this was from one of those Christian studios cinemas, right? So basically what happens is that the whole world decides that they're going to become communist, right? which American evangelists hate, basically, and you know what they do, because of COVID, and there's no explanation as to why, but because of COVID, they outlaw Christianity.
What the heck?
Right. Okay, so this guy is going around saying, he's like a just this average dude, and he goes like, I'm gonna make sure that we glorify Jesus and glorify his name again on this planet. And it's like, dude, what the hell is this film, man? It's like literally like this victim complex. It was one of the greatest crap films that I've ever seen in my life, and it deserves the 1.3 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
These people managed to churn out, these studios managed to churn these films out, and they do well somewhere. somewhere.
Dude, these films are so, you know, I've seen like Salim's got this thing where you hold this camera and it stays steady, but the arm kind of moves and stuff, right?
Yeah.
This is not done with that. This is a dude holding a camera because he's
shivering
like,
everywhere.
it's so funny. Like my wife's like, I'm getting vertigo watching this because it's like going like this all the time. It's so bad. But anyway, yeah. So yeah. But let's go from one of those directors to an actual guy who has a bit of pedigree and stuff, right? Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott has been saying about superhero movies that they're, what did he say? They're boring as shit or something. He said
boring as shit. Yeah, that's basically it. The boring, unimaginative. My superhero films have been way better. And then he mentioned Alien, Gladiator, and one other one I can't remember. But in his head, Blade Runner. In his head, those are superhero films. To him, those are superhero films. It's like, see how interesting these are and how well they're written. But yeah,
they're written well enough. But I'd say one thing about Gladiator: if you watch that without the Hans Zimmer soundtrack, I think it probably wouldn't be as great a film as you kind of think it is. You know, the thing at the time was the fact that we'd never seen a crowd in the Colosseum like rendered digitally like that. So it was just something like amazing that you see the first time. Alien, okay, kind of possibly, but I'm sorry, my boy Jim Cameron blew it out the water when he brought Aliens, because that is one of my favorite films of all time. So it's Aliens.
But very different genre movies, though. To be fair,
very different. Like, you know, horror to a horror, you know, horror action kind of thing, action horror. And then what did he say? The other one, Blade Runner.
Yeah.
So isn't Blade Runner? You're not meant. It's a question about whether he is enhanced or not. That's the question, right?
Which they ruin in the new one. Because they pretty much just confirm, yeah, he is basically.
He is. Oh yeah, they do, because did they say he? Oh, I thought, I can't remember. Didn't they say that the woman was a replicant and she gave birth, but they still don't tell it whether Deckard was, or did they say both of them are replicants? I think it was like they were like, oh, a replicant can give birth. Remember. And the woman who was played by Sean, what's her name?
Yeah.
She gave birth, and they were like, this is like unheard of kind of thing.
I know there's a director's cut of the first one. It's supposed to be that the replicant's eyes glow whenever light shines on them. And then when there's that shot in the director's cut where you see Harrison's eyes glow behind Rachel's. I don't know, but I'm pretty much sure they just confirmed that he was. But maybe it's still ambiguous. I don't know.
I hope they left it ambiguous, to be honest. I prefer it when it's ambiguous, but I don't know. Ridley, you're wrong, man. Seriously, you're wrong, because it's like people like different things, man. Sometimes you want to go and, you know, read an intricate book about, you know, the facts of the earth, and other times you want to go sit on the crop drop at Chesington World of Adventures, right? You know what I mean? It's the completely different kind of things.
It's always the same type of directors that bitch about this as well. That kind of have to crap on Marvel.
Do you know? I think the reason why they do that is because they're probably fighting for distribution.
Yeah.
And they're probably being told by the distributors, oh, we can get this in, I don't know, 1,000 cinemas or something. Yeah. And they're like, 1,000 cinemas worldwide. They're like, yeah, because, you know, we got Eternals coming out, which is going to be in 100,000 cinemas.
And they're battling to get that big budget that they love to spend. Like Nolan loves to waste his 200 mil. I still don't understand that Tenet cost that much. That just don't make sense.
Nolan is the most rated guy in the world. I just love him.
Tenet because costs more than Dune. How is that possible?
He can persuade anybody. Like if I was running a business where I had to sell stuff, I'd be like, I want Nolan there, because he can he can persuade anybody to do anything, man. He might actually be Professor X or something, like persuading like people to, you know what I mean? He might actually be that. It's like he's doing this new thing about the atomic bomb, right?
Yeah.
And he's gonna explode a bomb somewhere. I know he is, man. He's gonna be
it
like,
must be practical. No, I don't want no digital effects. I want to see a city burn.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. He will basically be like, okay, go to Japan and say, is there a city of yours that we can use to explode?
Okay, we're gonna go to the Sahara and we're gonna build a whole city. We're gonna build Tokyo in the desert and blow it up.
Exactly. Let's just blow up the Sahara where there's absolutely nothing there. Yeah. Let's just do that, man. So no, because they have to do the tests and stuff in Nevada, right? So he's gonna explode something in a desert, somewhere. God. That's exactly what he's gonna do, man. So guys, we've had some questions there. Guys, if you want to give our actual questions and stuff, there have been some on the Facebook page, but I kind of, if you got your full name there, like I said there before, you kind of need to tell me, do you want me to mention your name and stuff like that? Because a lot of these people have like proper profiles and that, and I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, do you want it mentioned about this or that? I don't know. So you kind of have to tell me. Otherwise, I'm just going to make the assumption from now on, because I've warned you guys that I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to say the whole name there, right? So anyway, we got a message from our buddy Kamran, who is actually from your show, right? He's one of the fans on your show, but is now listening to us there as well. So he says. His first thing is, hey guys, what is your favorite piece of merchandise or collectible that you own? Do you want me to do that, or should we both do that? Or
because of my limited space situation, I can't really go crazy on merchandise anymore. But I guess my Tesseract, my big case with the Tesseract in it, that has all the box set of the Phase 1 of the MCU. I think probably that one.
That's nice. That's the metal one in the background, right?
Yeah,
that's that.
Can you see? Oh yeah, you can see it. Yeah.
I can see it. Yeah. That is nice. That is. I've looked at that there before, but I can't put it on the ceiling, right?
Yeah, nah. And I got my True Blood, empty True Blood bottle next to the box set. I love True Blood, and the Inception case as well. That's got one of those little spinny things in it.
Oh,
so I know whether I'm dreaming.
Do you gotta keep that with you, the totem? To spin it around. Yeah,
it has the whole dream. There's that dream machine that they used to bring out in the film. Yeah, that's all in it. So it's a few, but probably the comic books though, man. I do love my comic books, man. I'm a big Jim Lee guy. So even though it's DC, I had to get the signed Icons book.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's nice. That's a hardcover as well, man. That is nice. Look at that. This is art and everything, just amazing.
Yeah, Jim Lee's art.
Love Jim Lee stuff. Jim Lee always comes to the Comic Cons as well, man. So it's always like
never here, never UK. I never see him.
Yeah, never UK. But I'm hoping a lot of these guys come over now, because I need to get that Batman World thing signed there, man.
I did see Rob Liefeld, but I want to see him.
Yeah, Rob Liefeld. I'd only get. I don't know if I decided to get, like, I don't know, Deadpool first edition of something hardcover, and then just said, mate, can you sign this or something like that? But I don't know whether it'd be a waste. Half the time to go to Comic Con, it's just like so you can see these people, and then when you're a kid, and be like, oh my god, this person's so old now. That's the only reason, like, to see them, and just to see the reams of plastic surgery that these people have had.
Don't say that. Have you seen Ghostbusters yet?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm planning to go Ghostbusters next week. Yeah, so I've heard this lot of fan callbacks and stuff like that, basically. So but that'll be interesting for me, because I don't have the Feather Duster yet, which will be my number one thing there. My number one collectible, but it's not really collectible, is a 3D printed Batman EMP rifle, which I actually kind of made myself. That's my favorite one. So that is hanging on the wall there. That pipe is that pipe is the exhaust, coming from
Oh damn.
from the tumble dryer that I was talking about, right? So yeah, so that one there, that Batman EMP rifle is my favorite, and that's the one. It took me like weeks to build it as well. Sanding down. Now I can't be bothered. I actually just go and buy stuff. The most recent one, the one that I really, really love, has got to be that Riddler trophy, which is the the one down there. I love that there as well. But yeah,
even the suit, you got the whole suit right behind you over there.
That's my biggest regret, man, because
Really?
I only had the money to buy the top half, right? Because when the company was going, they would make bits, right? So I said, right, I want to buy the shoulder bits now, because the shoulder and the chest bit comes in one. Now I want to buy the arm bits. Now I want to buy the abdomen bit. Now I want to buy the neck bit. By the time I bought all the belt and all that, the company went bust.
Oh.
So I can't get the legs. Like literally, you cannot get the legs anywhere. I've tried different companies. I'm like, I don't care whether it's the color match is perfect or whatever. I just want to have the legs to kind of. You can't get it anywhere. So now I've literally got half the thing. And the thing is, I actually had a half mannequin, right? I had a half mannequin which basically had a top bit, and I changed it to a full size because I was like in the anticipation of getting the lowers. But now you can't get the lowers anywhere, man. So if anybody knows somebody who makes they all make the Affleck one, or the all the ones that are in the the comic book ones and stuff like that. The most common, the Arkham one is the most common and stuff. But the Dark Knight one is almost impossible to get, man. It's just like I've looked everywhere. So if you guys know, let me know. I don't want to buy the whole suit. I just want the legs. That is it. And that's it. Just complete.
Surprised you haven't gotten. Have you got an Arkham? You ain't got the Arkham Knight helmet, have you? From the game.
The Arkham Knight helmet is the one. The one that is on. Where is it? So it is the one that is nearest. The Dark Knight. It's the one. So there's So the Arkham Knight. Let me try and move out the way.
What was the name of that character though? Was he actually called Arkham? What was he called?
No. Oh, you mean? Oh, okay. So you mean the Arkham Knight, as in the Jason
Arkham
Todd,
Knight.
right? No, I haven't got that one. I've got the Batman in Arkham Knight, which is that one there. That is an amazing helmet. I've seen those ones there as well. I've seen light up ones and stuff like that. I've seen kits where you could get the helmet and then put your own LEDs in and stuff. That would be another project, but I've kind of run out of room now. So, but I do have another load of shelves over there. So it's kind of, I bought a really wide shelf, which was too wide. So now I can put the Image comic stuff at the front, and I could potentially put some collectibles around the back there. So that's probably what I'm going to do. So, Ed's just giving me an idea now. So I need to go and get that. So, he also says, Uz, will you be watching the Flash Armageddon 5 the Flash Armageddon 5-part event? As the DC fan, I know the Flash is trash, but still. Okay. I always say I watch everything DC, right? But I kind of draw the line at CW apart from Superman and Lois. However, I'm willing to give this the benefit of the doubt. If I don't know, Kamran, you watch it. Tell me if it's any good, and if it's good, then I will go watch it. And
he watches it. I think he's commented. He's stuck with a lot of that CW stuff.
Yeah, I want to see. Okay, it has to be at a higher level than the rest of the stuff. And if it is, then fine. I will. But 5 parts. How long is that? 5 hours. Is that
much?
5?
Yeah.
Oh man, 5 hours. Dude, I got 5 hours in the day to go and watch that, but it's DC, so yeah, I'd be willing. I would be willing if it is, if it's decent enough, and I'd be interested to know when it's coming out, because I got watch Spider-Man 20 times as well. So
5 hours though, that means you're gonna have to. One of those hours is gonna be a Batwoman hour, so you're gonna have to sit through that.
Oh no, please no, please no. Although when I would watch Batwoman, I've got this different spin on it now. I'm like, okay, look, these people are at each other's necks behind the set. Right?
These are war survivors, man. These people are getting hurt here.
Yeah, exactly. All these people got PTSD when they're coming on set, right? So it gives it a completely different kind of spin on it. I guess is Legends of Tomorrow still go? I don't know. I don't follow this stuff, man.
Yep.
I lost all faith in all of this when it's like they're like, oh, let's carry on with Black Lightning and let's get rid of Swamp Thing. At that point, it's like, nah, man, you got your priorities all wrong. Your priorities all wrong.
How deep would we have been in by now? Like 4 seasons in or something on Swamp Thing if it kept going.
Yeah, and we would have been into the mad stuff right now. We would have been into the magical stuff. We would have had Constantine things going in there. We would have had potential Justice League Dark things going in there. You know, it would have just, you know, could have expanded to God knows what, but no. I don't know. Next time, guys, come and film something in the UK. We don't go and promise you like tax breaks and then basically not give it. We give tax breaks to anybody. Like if you see every single film, London has been destroyed like God knows how many times. Yeah. I'm expecting in Moonfall that London is a first city that's going to get destroyed.
Yeah. Right? About that. Is that this year as well?
Yeah, that's this year. That's coming out in a couple of weeks. So that is gonna come out just before Spider-Man. So it's gonna be Moonfall, Spider-Man, and then Matrix. Right?
Love it.
I'm secretly looking forward to Moonfall because I love this kind of shitty action. You know,
disaster movies. I love them. Doesn't matter how crap they are. I love them.
Yeah.
2012, awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Love it. So he also says something about Dexter New Blood, but dude, I think that is probably a question for Eds and Mo. So we're going to leave that.
Yeah, we'll address that on Talking at the Movies. Go check it out, guys. But yeah, thanks, Cameron.
Yeah, thanks for your messages, man. So yeah, let us know about The Flash, guys. Also, if you watch The Flash and you're like, I've always said, guys, sell me the CW shows, man. You know, I know I'm sounding arrogant here. Who am I to like for you to sell me something? But what I'm just saying is like, tell me why I should watch it. Just why should I watch The Flash? Why should I watch Batwoman? Tell me what's good about it, and then you know, kind of I'll think about it. But anyway, guys, if you want to tell us some more stuff there, Kamran came through the Facebook Messenger, so that is definitely working. You can find us on DCVS Marvel Podcast on Facebook. You can also email us on dcvsmarvelpod@gmail.com. We also, at the moment, for some reason, have got two kind of things going on video wise. So we've got Voltron Network, which is all of our shows and Talking at the Movie shows and stuff like that. And because the fact that I didn't have the login, but I do now because Ed has given it to me, I've been putting up the comic book stuff on the DC versus Marvel podcast YouTube channel. So I will be mirroring those onto the Voltron Network as well. So that you guys can see that there as well. So if you want to catch Ed's there again this week, because this is coming out Monday, right? So you catch Ed's again, sometime this week. You can do on the other show there as well.
Talking at the Movies, all podcasting platforms. We're going to be talking about A Wheel of Time. They'll be talking about Cowboy Bebop and with that Ghostbusters Afterlife as well. Yeah, so catch us.
And Dexter New Blood, right?
Oh yeah.
And Dexter New Blood, of course.
Do you watch Dexter?
Do you know what? I've never seen it. Never seen it. It's one of those things where I kind of like, people are like, oh, the ending was so disappointing. I'm like, I haven't seen the beginning, man. So I kind of can't get into this conversation.
Thing is, because they've brought it back now and it picks up right from that, then it makes that ending less shit because it's not the ending. Because it's carrying on now, and it's so far it started out good.
Okay,
so it's worth going back, man. I think it's still on Netflix, maybe somewhere.
Okay, yeah.
He's a serial killer that kills serial killers. Like, how awesome is that?
Yeah.
Good guys. What is a serial killer you can root for?
What's not to like about that? Exactly, man. So, Wrestling Ruckus back yet? We don't know. Maybe
no, he's the one that's got COVID.
He's got COVID. Oh,
he's
man,
in the hospital bed, right? In the isolated ward. He's
So
doing all right,
maybe
though.
2022, man. Maybe
Yeah,
2022. Guys, also as well, just before we go, I wanted to just ask you if you guys have any ideas of things that we should cover in the end of year special. So we did this a couple of years ago, didn't do it last year, but a couple of years ago, you guys asked us to say like what would be your top 5 shows that haven't been made yet, things like that. We can do that there as well, and of course we'll be doing a rundown of our top 5 best and worst comic book properties at the end of the year there, and yeah, see if you guys agree with us or don't. We'll see you again for next few ones, and then obviously then that will come before the end of the year. Until then, guys, we'll see you again next time.
Later.